Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're checking out Allure by Heavyocity. I'm not sure how I should be pronouncing that. Allure. I don't know. Anyway, you tell me. Another Heavyocity release. This is a good tempo. Very interested in checking this out because obviously they already have Ascend, which is a grand piano. But what Allure is an upright piano. That's how you say it. Let's take ourselves to the website to learn a bit more about this. Might as well touch on pricing immediately, since it's obviously up front here. When you go to the website, full price, this will be $149. Intro price is $119, and then registered owners of Ascend, Aspire, or Avant save an additional $20. So make sure to check out whether you have some of those and whether you qualify for a discount. But basically they call it a reimagining of the upright piano, capturing its essence, both natural and felted. This is really good, and I'd say it's pretty also essential in today's environment. Not that you can't do a piano that is non-felted, but there are so many great options out there that have both options done, brilliantly. So if you're going to go down the alley of doing something very specific, you have to do it really, really well, and also probably have to take it. You have to take the pricing into consideration there. Unique performances and extended techniques. This is really good to hear. And they call it an intimate piano virtual instrument. Emotion meets expression, etc. I must say the interface here looks exceptionally nice. I love the color scheme of it. It's very dimmed down, very dark, which works well with my autistic brain. Nice yellow golden touches here, but yeah, it looks super smooth, very clear, laid out, and very refined looking to me. So props for that. In terms of what it is specifically, yes, it's an upright, but it is the K800 upright piano. So this is, I believe, by Kawaii, made in Japan. So that's interesting. I believe in the press release, which I have over here, they say it's hand-selected by the Heavyocity team for its intimate warmth and captivating texture. I like this. Usually, I tend to luck. Jeez, I'm really tired, guys, so I'm sorry about that. Really love warm pianos. I usually also prefer uprights, period, sort of overall. Obviously, there's a ton of ways to do a piano, so not like an absolute statement there, but it's kind of a generalization that I tend to prefer them. Looking at the website again, alluring articulations, delicate twine to resonant plucks. Yeah, so they don't list all of them here, but there's a bunch of stuff there. Then they have something new called, which they call a latest innovation, dancers. These prepared performances are multi-sampled textures dynamically flowing. So it kind of sounds similar to the Ascend engine doing things, but it's probably like a different thing altogether. And then a proprietary echoes feature adds an elegant layer of rhythmic randomness. Very nice. Again, they emphasize the natural sound and also the felted sound. And then probably not anything that's super useful for me to mention to you. They have 16 sound sources, so Natural Upright has full close room and PPP mix. That's really good. I love a good PPP. Felted Upright, full close room PPP. Extended mallet, pluck, twine, and brush grain. Interesting. Brush grain is one, not two different things. And then dancers as its own category. Natural dancer, felted, mallet, muted. 95 custom presets, 16 alluring, 13 core upright, 20 dancers, 21 extended, 25 rhythmic. Intuitive source browser, convolution engine for rhythmic and creative echoes, 3-point mixer, and then going into tech specs, 34 gigs, 34.8 gigs uncompressed, 16.8 on disk with NI lossless compression. This is powered by Contact 6.8, so that's what you need. Player is okay. NKS ready. Standalone VST with VST3 AU AAX. Minimum system requirements. Mac OS 10.14 or 15. Then 11, 12, or 13 latest update. Apple Silicon Macs via Rosetta 2 and natively on ARM in standalone or in hosts that support it. All right, PC 10, Windows 10 or 11, Intel Core i5 or equivalent. Cool. I think that about covers the basics. Anything else we want to touch on from the press release? I don't think so. So let's put this away. Over here or over there. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it's only Allure in action. I don't add any effects, no EQ, no reverb, nothing like that. I only have a limiter on the master bus to make the level decent for this video. It's set to be as transparent as possible, so it shouldn't be coloring anything. But yeah, Allure as it is coming out of the box. In terms of the plan for today, when I look at this menu here, we have a bunch of presets here, quite a few of them. I don't know if I can go through all of them. I'll try. If I'm extremely what's the word? If I discriminate very aggressively, I think we might be able to push through of them. In terms of what I'll be playing, I'll just go based on what is speaking to me right now, here in the now. So it's not a end-all be-all in terms of what I think about the preset. If I skip it, it doesn't necessarily mean I think it's bad. It's just that nothing comes to mind in the here and now, and that obviously fluctuates based on the hour and the day and the stars, etc. So I'll just be going based on inspiration and play the stuff that resonates with me right now. In terms of transparency, Heavyocity did send me this copy, so first of all, thank you to them for doing so. That being said, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. I haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do that. Does that cover absolutely everything? I think so. Let's go in order, starting with the Alluring folder, and just go from there. So here you can immediately hear this engine come into play, very similar to Ascend in that regard. Obviously, this is only the first preset has a very kind of fantasy, like very sound affected, big, soft, reverberant soundscape. Let's keep pushing onwards. Yeah, so there we have a bit of more of that sharper, natural sound. It has a lot of processing on it. So these aren't, like many of these presets, like in Ascend, are intended to be like, you know, inspirational starting points or to play well with cinematic soundscapes. But yeah, definitely on the sort of softer edge and more sort of effect centered. So yeah, obviously a lot of those movements happening usually quite compressed, the sounds. Obviously not all of the presets or the sounds, but you know, that's kind of like part of the Heavyocity piano treatment. Ooh, I really love these washes. This is like cinematic, organic pad creator. Yeah, really looking forward to some of the more pad sounds based on that. Nice resonance there in the low end. Interesting how the low end is definitely more emphasized there. Very soft on the top. That's the limiter clipping, not the library. Difficult to get levels. Tends to be too quiet and then too loud. I like these different starting points because they can be super inspiring in terms of what kind of a sound you want to go for. There we have those resonances building up, so that was the limiter clipping again. It's very like like this one would be very difficult to like push more dynamics in there. I'm sure you can tweak how that happens because you got so many different layers of effects processing happening there, but it's sort of more tamed in the background. Limiter, again, this is the bit of a trick here, because a piano can be super dynamic. That was the limiter. Yeah, really liking this. This is my favorite so far, in case you couldn't tell. Super nice. Very controlled, warm, very easy to get like a perfect vibe, a perfect energy going. And then this top end kind of opens up. This is still very mellow. And then it opens up here beautifully to sing those top melodies. Super, super vibey. Immediately puts you in that. Okay, we're talking about romance and relationships, and it's also achingly beautiful. Limiter, yes, that low end is going to blow out of proportion with other frequency ranges. Really beautiful. I love that pattern there sounds very organic and realistic. It doesn't sound sequenced or fabricated. So you can really use this to create those kind of expressions without actually being able to play that, and it sounds super organic and nice. Let's pull back on the limiter. Yeah, you really need to control the resonances somehow in a mix context. Well, depends on the part, but. beautiful. The initial transient response, very distant, but you get a perfect sense of like a pluck and a strike. So this is like a perfect way of creating a pad that still has a transient dimension to it. Very beautifully balanced, and also perfect for when you want to evoke a sense of a piano, but you don't want to use like an upfront piano. So that's a beautifully pad-like sound, very cinematic, but still has that kind of close, intimate quality to it. That was the limiter. Yeah, again, I really love these tools that give you, obviously that kind of, it sounds like an echo, but there's also that octave jump. Can make it seem like more like a player type of a thing. So I really like these kind of things where you can really enhance the scope of your playing with these different sort of technology applications. Okay, a great example of evoking a sense of like a new instrument, like a different instrument. So we have that pluck, which sounds like, I don't know what comes to mind. Very interesting sound. Sure, there will be a nice place for that. Oh yeah, we've arrived at Marquestown. Very cool, kind of a lo-fi, pluckish, tapey sound. Kind of similar to the one of the previous ones. So I will say that for some of these, and I feel like that is the echo overlapping, you will need to tweak that because it can definitely become dissonant against the harmony you want to work with, but obviously that depends on your music. I really like here we can hear some of the tone differences compared to Ascend, because a lot of the presets they're so heavily processed that they kind of land in the same zone as Ascend. Now, again, that's not a bad thing because a lot of it sounds really good, but it is going to be in that same zone. So I really prefer these sounds where we get some of that unique tone of this upright, because obviously both are still pianos. Grands sound different to uprights, and every single piano sounds different to another piano, in a way, to an extent. But there are obviously similarities there as well. So I do prefer when it kind of shows its unique skin here. I see that we seem to have the felt PPP here, which I know we're going to go to the core sounds soon, but sounds really, really good to me, and probably is maybe one of the most strongest. My speech is all over the place today. I'm so exhausted. All over the place. My speech is, yes, okay. But yeah, seems like a very strong selling point of this for me, because I love those kind of sounds. All right, we are actually now in core upright, so I suspect these are just the piano sounds as they are on their own. So here is basic felt upright. Just gonna look. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we have any effects on here, except for maybe apparently a bit of EQ, compression, Hall. So kind of some basic effects going here. But let's play a bit. Interesting. Well, first of all, it says felt. This sounds, yeah, clearly felted, but it's a pretty mild felt. Like it's not a very controlled one. There's an interesting transient, kind of a wet sounding blip there in the beginning. Which is good. It kind of reminds me of, okay, I always mix these up, and also I'm going through, so I'm going to open the side panel here to make sure I get the name right, because they have such similar names. So Ascend is the grand piano, Allure is now the upright piano, Avant is what I'm thinking about, and then what's the, wait a minute, where's the Aspire is the mallet, yes. Oh crap, where did I go? Avant, modern keys. Yes, reminds me of some of the transient responses in Avant, which at first sounded to me very nice, but then I started realizing that they sort of begin to, the transient effect begins to accumulate, and then I noticed that my ear was very sensitive to it. So I usually found that I would be kind of toning that down quite often, and especially if you process it with further effects. Those tend to have the effect of enhancing those transient elements in there. So it would be probably something here that I hear on this specific preset. You hear it coming to play more from this range downwards, so it's more accentuated. I don't hear it here in the kind of mid-up area. there. You can hear that kind of the flapping. So I would tone that down. There's a number of ways of doing that. The mechanics control here on the bottom left, and then just the tone controls. No, sorry. I do apologize. My brain is a scrambled mess right now. But yeah, I mean, controlling what the actual sound source is going to affect a lot. Mechanics are going to affect a lot. Tone controls in terms of the frequency response are going to play with that. But I do hear some of that same quality there. And again, this is like a balancing question. It's not a matter of good or bad. It's a matter of contextual to the music you're making, and also the balance of how much of that texture you want. I love those transient details, but they can really get overwhelming if you don't keep an eye on them. Basic natural upright. That's the limiter. Let's pull that back a bit. Again, it's quite dynamic, so a lot of the resonances are going to catch the limiter. I'm going to try and play a bit better here. I'm actually really digging this. I know I said I'm more like a felt type of a guy in general. Usually because like natural pianos can just have too much stuff in there. Too much of a kind of a transient lower end emphasis, then too much resonance. I know I'm hitting my hand probably too much here. But yeah, too many kind of like strong resonance build-ups, and then you have a lot of body there and a lot of brightness there, and then the transients don't really fit nicely. To me, it seems like a very difficult thing to do a natural upright in a very pleasant way. But I'm really liking this because it sounds vulnerable. It sounds like out in the open, but it's beautifully balanced. Like, this range sounds stunning to me. And also, again, I should point out, Heavyocity always nails the dynamics. Like, things are super playable, translate just like in a 1-to-1 ratio to me. So super playable, very dynamic. And the tone is so pure. I don't usually like these kind of piano sounds, but here it is done superbly well. It's like crystal clear, very pure, but it still has like soul to it, which tends to be a difficult thing for natural piano sounds, period, to me. Remarkable how clear and still pleasant that is, because that, I can imagine that gets super harsh very easily on many pianos. And I'm sure the selection of the piano for this made all the difference. Yeah, that's probably one of the best sounding natural uprights that I've heard. You can hear here, a bit of that compression coming in. Let me turn that off. Limitar. I really like that. Actually, probably prefer it without the compression. Yeah, that's actually a really big difference in the transient response and how it holds the body together. Yeah, super nice. If you want a more compressed sound, usually I prefer my pianos less compressed, but hey, you have the option there. Okay, going into basic soft felt upright. So this seems to be the PPP one, right? Looks like it. Okay, that is very PPP. Okay, that's super choked in terms of the sound. And again, that's not like a good or bad. It's just like very, very controlled. Because again, here it really depends, like a super soft, quiet piano. There are a number of ways of, I can't speak for shit today. That could mean a number of things. It could be like in the playing, also in the sampling process of it, could be in the felting, could be in a number of things. To me, it sounds like it doesn't quite ignite. It doesn't have that dynamic level there. It sounds like very, very one dynamic. Let me see if we have any effects on here. No compression. All right, cool. So it must be just sampled in a sort of a very PPP range. I wish it, because when I play quiet, it's clearly a different sample, but I would want maybe a bit more of a textural shift there. It sounds a bit like too tucked in, too choked, so I find it difficult to pull like emotion and expression out of that. It sort of doesn't allow itself to open up very much. Basic soft natural upright. Limiter clipping. Really difficult to find a range where I can get decent levels and not clip. like here, I feel like there's that level of expression and dynamic. This is what I was sort of more expecting from the felt one, but that was just like way more controlled. So yeah, this soft natural upright, I really like this. This kind of mid range here, or maybe going to the upper, has a beautiful noise profile. Like it's something, I don't know what they've done here. Let me actually look if we have any effects on. We have a bit of EQ, a Hall, convolution wise, nothing on. Seems like most of it is really in the capturing. It has a nice kind of a tape, like this warmth, this bit of brokenness, bit of like, get a sense of also the sound of the space. It sounds like we're capturing a bit of that there. It's a very, very nice sound. It also comes across throughout the full range. This is just where I noticed it the first. It's a bit of that saturation, a bit of that kind of low-grade distortion, a bit of that space, a bit of that noise. Limiter, That's the thing with pianos. Like this, again, this is not like a criticism towards the library because it's doing all the right things. It's just like pianos, you want to make them realistic and natural, but then just, obviously I could play differently, but that wouldn't get the energy out of there that I'm looking for. So they always need to be, the resonances always need to be controlled for me in a piano. Like a soothe is like a necessity for me when it comes to these things. But yeah, let me pull back the limiter. Guess if that was the limiter. Yeah, sorry for my shitty playing. It's my brain. I'm too tired. Beautiful sound. This is one of my favorites here for sure so far. So this is a close natural upright. Limiter, I'm going to pull this all the way down, so this probably be a bit quieter. Yeah, I'm impressed by how pleasant the tone is, because I usually find those natural tones to be just too much. There's just too much of everything, and they're just too bland. But that is such a pure tone and so focused that it kind of becomes very vulnerable sounding, and that sounds very nice to me. And sometimes you really want like that pure tone. I'd imagine this would sound really good in like an orchestral context as well. It could really punch through, and if you're doing some kind of crazy arpeggio stuff, that would be super cool. What are we looking at here? So this is compressed upright. Again, very compressed, quite compressed, but if you're going for that sound, that's really nicely snappy. Not my kind of a thing, but still. Dark upright. really liking this as well. I think going the natural route and then coloring things is very nice. And also the soft one sounded really nice. Felted wash ambience. Very nice cinematic stuff. Very cool. I could also layer and blend really nicely with some of the instruments from East Asia. Old tape head upright. Very nice. Initially, I thought I would want to maybe go with like a softer source there, but it works pretty nice once you find a good dynamic level there. Kind of a buttery response there. So a few different kind of convolution reverb options for you. A bit too pushed to the back and kind of tucked in. Okay, cool. We're going into dancers. So again, these are apparently a new thing. Let's get into it. Yeah, again, loving these different textures and love doing it through technology instead of playing it myself. You can see a bit of what's happening there visually. You play, you get these tiny dots sparkling around. I love those visual representations. In terms of what's new here, I don't quite understand where it's coming from, because it seems like a very similar function to what Ascend already was doing back in the day. And maybe it's this, because the automation has already existed also in Avant and other ones, I think. So I just don't know if it's a new naming kind of a thing, or just like whether there's layers of like sample textural stuff. I really like that. Okay, yeah, so dances are like a different source. Okay, that makes sense. That is what they kind of said. I just didn't see this earlier. So yeah, in the different selection boxes, you just go to the source, and here you see the thing. I think that makes a lot of sense, gives a lot more flexibility, and you don't have to rely on the kind of the Ascend engine here to be doing that, or utilizing the Echo engine. So I really like that, because it brings a whole different level of control. And obviously the triangle here is going to adjust the balance between things. I guess we should have done some kind of at least quick interface overview. Are we going to do that now? Already pretty much into the demo. Well, might as well, as we're talking about it. In the middle here, you see a big triangle that is inverted. In the corners, you have different sources. So you click on one and you can choose. Oh, this is interesting. They stay up here. I don't know if that's new. Probably not. And yeah, in each box you can choose the source. And if you go to this tab down here, which says source, you can see all of the sources. So they go into 4 categories. You have natural, felt, extended, and dancers. And in each one of those, you have 4 different sources. You can also from here choose the sound you want to tweak. In these equate to each of these corners, so you don't have to click it open from here. You can also do it in the source tab here. So simple. You choose the sounds you want to be using, and with this dragging this dot here, you can choose the balance of it. You can also automate the motion of that dot, which is very cool. You can randomize it, scatter and drift, which are, you know, the tiny dots they're happening around you there. That's what they represent. Really cool. This is like probably one of the coolest, best qualities in any of the Ascend line products. I really like it. It's visually represented super well. So that's cool. So that's kind of the basic gist of it. In the settings tab, you have control for mechanics. So that's pedal, up and down. There you go. Key press. So that's just the mechanical noise of the key. No, you know, tone or anything like that. Velocity curve control. So super simple, convenient. Minimum, maximum, and then also the curve control here if you want to do something wonky. Like I said, Heavyocity tends to just nail these just perfectly, at least to my taste, so probably not going to be spending a lot of time there. Stereo control, and then you have resonance control and release control. Modulation page, got an LFO here, MIDI CC control, velocity, etc. Arpeggiator, these are super convenient. Really liking this inclusion because it again makes this so much more versatile and work with, you know, this sort of more hybrid world that many composers live in. So super cool. Echoes engine, again, this is, you know, expands the usability of this a lot, especially in that sort of rhythmic cinematic hybrid sense, because you can make a lot of really cool patterns with that. So effects, simple enough. You choose your effects here in the center. In terms of well, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. You got compression, EQ, diffuse, delay, and then a Hall control. And then you can drag a bunch of different stuff in the convolution part. And yeah, you can just drag these different things in different places to make your own chain. And they have this nice visual to represent that. Then you have the convolve, which is the, you know, the convolution side of this, which tends to be super solid. Probably uses some of the same stuff as in Vast, or the same tech or principles, and Vast can sound super good. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Probably not the best explanation, especially since I included it this late in the video, but it's there. So there you go. Continuing on the presets. One of the things that I already noticed is that obviously, since we only have 4 sources for the dancers, you begin to hear some of that repetition happening. And also there's this extended folder where you have this brush grain, which tends to be pretty prominent here. So you will, in terms of that, hear quite a bit of repetition here, because there just aren't enough of those. Well, enough, but there aren't a ton of them. So we'll begin to hear some of the same patterns, but that comes down to your, you know, how you combine these different sounds and layers as well. So obviously we are in the dancer folder, so they are going to be pretty prominently represented here. So yeah, I think in terms of that source folder, I think more of those would be really cool. They obviously aim to do that one thing, but in different ways, for the natural, for the felted, for the mallets, and for the muted. So it's kind of like asking something to do something that is not designed to do, but that's intuitively where I'm going. Like, I want to hear more textures, more different patterns. But then in terms of finding the perfect right texture and movement for you, then what was I going to say? I forgot my point there completely. Wow. Losing sleep sucks balls. I really like that one. It's perfectly, those kind of brushings, or what, you know, whatever they're called, they can get very transient heavy, so you get a lot of this top end, but that one is perfectly like smooth. It doesn't bother my ear at all, so I could just listen to that on and on. And obviously that depends on the number of controls. One of the most important control set, by the way, here is in the control boxes for each corner, because the tone control does a ton, obviously, in terms of the brightness. So that's a big thing to pay attention to. Also, you can control the attack and release here, which might if you have too much of a transient hit somewhere, you can tone it down with that, which I did find that I would do with Avant, depending on the material. But yeah, I mean, these sound really good, but you begin to hear kind of the same similar patterns be present there, which they're intended to be, but just have a different texture. It just makes me greedy. I want more, you know? That one is very nice because it's like a natural kind of a sound. Yeah, it's just such a good concept. You kind of can't help but want more of those patterns. It's just what I'm thinking. Cool. I think we are gonna move on from here. Gonna go into extended. Really liking these things. Just fantastic for like cinematic atmosphere building. It sounds to me like it needs like more reverb, but obviously you can just put more reverb on there, or just put on your own. Beautiful sound, super big, and it hits perfectly. That's for that kind of like a grandiose sound. And again here, yeah, I could play the flam myself, but that slight, like that's a perfectly done landing of those notes. Yeah, very nicely done. Beautiful. That low end really mangles nicely. Would be really cool for like some kind of synthwave intro. nice. Cool. God damn this limiter. God damn this resonance fluctuation. That is so good. Again, I love the octave doubling, then you get a bit of lo-fi wobbliness there. Then this kind of, like, this range gets super soft and puffy and nice. Then you have that transient layer there, which kind of adds this noise element, but a bit of impact. This is, again, like, I love this kind of stuff because it's brilliant sound design, and I can take that and immediately it gives me inspiration to write in a certain way and build certain kind of soundscapes and worlds. I'll do that for some kind of anime show. I was going to do some anime sounds, but... I love this kind of stuff. There can never be too many piano-based pass sounds for me in the world. Okay, here, love the sound, the idea there, but again, I can hear the felt PPP. You always feel the PPP. And I would probably want to change that, so I would go to... Where do I want to go? Natural PPP. Well, we like it natural. And yeah, the point is here to say you can find a good preset that conceptually kind of captures what you want to go for, but then jump in there and actually change things based on where the direction you want to be taking it. I know, a brilliant idea, but I love this kind of things because you can take the work of great sound designers and then, you know, see your vision, your own vision within that work and then tweak it and to, you know, do what you want to do. So yeah, that would kind of bring it a bit more up front. Always loving piano pads. Again, not going to repeat myself. That was the limiter. Again, that goes like, that's too compressed to my taste. So probably undo that for a more natural response. Everything is adjustable. VHS memories. Of which I have many. That's a really good sound. And yeah, that's the limiter. Very cool sound. Me likey that. Like that core piano sound. So that's kind of like a felt PPP as opposed to an unfelt PPP. Natural PPP. It's PP paradise up in this library. Nice. Okay, we have finally arrived at Alt Stomper, which means we're in the Rhythmic folder. So this might be my favorite folder. Difficult to say. This is a kind of a different library, but usually the rhythmic stuff is the shit when Heavyocity does it. It's one of my favorites. Really nice. A good example of just a beautiful, inspiring piece of sound design there. And again here, perfect playability, perfect tone, perfect responsiveness. Bit of a, you know, creative idea there going. This is beautiful tone. That's perfectly balanced, just super solid. This range here, perfect sound if you were doing like some kind of a trance thing. It just nails that sound. Let's do a trance track. Ecologic. Bit of a pitched sequence there. Really love these kind of things. Heavyocity does them really well. I wonder... Okay, so drive saturation. Let's put it here, so you can just drag it there. I wonder how hard I can drive this. So I would probably want to, like, properly want to distort that, but I don't think. Yeah, I would probably need to use a third-party distortion for that. Be a really cool soundscape element. That's a perfectly mixed sound for that. Like a bit like percussive, crispy, thin enough to have, you know, space for other things. That's perfectly done. Yeah, super solid. Yeah, I love those kind of things. I was expecting more of those, but... Techno party. That, again, that's mixed perfectly if you're going for that sound. It just hits super nicely, sits really well. Yeah, that's another really, really good one. And we are clipping the limiter. And also can't play a single note. This is cool. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Again, another favorite. Really good combo of combining the ARP with the reverberation and the other pad creating elements. Yeah, cool. Really love how the echoes are textured there to sound like brushing. Cool. All right, we went through all the presets. Didn't think that would happen, but it did. So, to summarize this, very, very cool stuff. So, if you have Ascend, this obviously is going to have a lot of overlap isn't the right word, but it's going to occupy some of that same territory. I guess then you could call it overlap. Obviously, both are pianos, so they are going to have similar type of characteristics, especially as they get processed. A lot of those unique quirks of the specific piano is going to kind of meld away and then blend into this effects and other processing that is happening here. So if you like Ascend, but you kind of want more of Ascend, then this is definitely going to like expand that palette there. And again, I'd probably just listen to the presets we went through and, see if there's something there you absolutely don't want to miss. In terms of the core sound of the piano, I was really surprised by the fact that I actually prefer the natural sound the most. And I really like I think it was the soft natural upright. Yes. Which is like one of the very rare occasions where I've really, I don't actually recall ever that being the case where I prefer it. Because I tend to be a felt type of a dude. But it just has such a pure, clean tone that it sort of becomes, first of all, it becomes vulnerable in a sort of an interesting way because it's so raw and kind of naked, and none of the it's super present and clear and pure sounding, because oftentimes natural upright pianos, they just tend to be a bit too much, and by the way, grand pianos as well, they just have too much of a fundamental resonance, too much body resonance overall, too much the transient information, that the profile is just all over the place. So they clearly chose a really, really good upright. Like they said, it does indeed sound quite warm, but it has a super, super nice, pure, raw tone to it. I'm not supposed to play anymore, running out of brain power here. But yeah, that really surprised me. It is super captivating. In terms of the core upright sounds, that's my favorite, which I never would have guessed would be the case. And it might be, obviously I have a lot of piano libraries, so I would have to compare and go side by side, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was up there in terms of being one of the favorite natural upright piano sounds that I have. I don't actually recall anything else that comes to mind on that front. So that's super nice. That I would definitely check out. And also some of the favorite kind of tweaked sounds come from that. So even the dark upright here, I believe, is using the natural mix there and then using this engine to color it. So I think for me, that's the way to go with the natural sounds for the most part, and then tweak from there, because that tends to be, based on this overview, tends to be the most captivating sound to me. Other than that, really liking, again, those kind of lo-fi, weird, wonky tweaks. Obviously, the pad stuff is right down my alley. I don't think I can have ever too much of those. I love just doing cinematic soundscapes with them, and I think they're one of the best ways to do pads for me, instead of going the synth route, going with a piano that is treated into being a pad. One of my favorite. And also many of the designed presets here really have a super unique vibey character, and they kind of become instruments of their own. Many of them use these kind of more plucky sounds, so they end up sounding more like an instrument from East Asia or maybe even like some Middle Eastern things. But yeah, they become sounds of their own, and they become instantly inspiring in their own right. So that's really cool for me. In terms of the dancers, I really love this edition, because even though they do kind of similar things as some of the the brush grain stuff can do, and some of the stuff that this random engine can also create, now you have this additional layer of changing the actual source of it, which I really like, because in many cases you do want to tweak some of the elements of the scatter and the drift or the echoes engine, but you can't quite get it. And I think this creates that additional dimension where you can really fix that. I would really want to have more patterns in terms of what the dancers do, because they seem to kind of do the same type of pattern-ish. which is fine. Like they don't, claim to do anything else, but it's such a good concept that I would just, I'm hungry for more of it. So I think that's something that they could add. That would be a tremendous addition. Anything else I want to touch on here? Having a look at the folders here. No, I think that about adds it up. Also in the Rhythmic folder, I probably would have expected and wanted more, kind of these kind of driving rhythmic elements that I could use as a basis for like, action sequences, or like creating that kind of a tone there running underneath my track. Because again, the rhythmic element, that could mean a bunch of things, and many of these were sort of less, drivingly rhythmic than I expected. So I would probably want to see more of those. But yeah, cool. And yeah, I mean, I love this engine. It's just so good and usable and easy to get your hands on. And again, this random control is really, really good for that, and the automation. So yeah, I'm really happy to see this engine to continue in the lineup, because it is super solid and really nice to work with. Super fast. So I think that about wraps it up. Let me know if you have this at home or at your studio, and let me know what you think of this video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.